Yeah, don't look too much, otherwise you can tell I've been punched in the nose. No, not recently. This is just a habit I picked up so I can breathe more easily. But yes, if you do pay attention in all my videos very closely, you can tell I've been punched in the face. Many times. And that said, you know what else some people would love to punch in the face? The Baba Yaga. Right? Now, out of the very few Russians I've been acquainted with, to them, as adults, of course, the Baba Yaga was like a fantasy fairy tale to like the boogeyman here in the U.S. Actually, I don't even know how many people are old enough to remember the boogeyman. Fuck, I'm old. Anyway, the Baba Yaga. There's something to be said about humanity's capacity for creating these creatures and monsters and, everything else in between that's scary, demented, in other cases, downright seemingly evil. Some would say it's reflective of our capacity for good, which is right, or evil, which is left. Funny enough, I was born left-handed and then trained out of it to be right-handed because my biological father was a religious zealot. Although, knowing what I know about many things now, I don't entirely blame him. Then again, he wasn't the smartest guy around. But he was a damn good Marine when it came to being the Vietnam guy. But that said, this is ubiquitous across humanity. When you break down all human cultures, races, ethnicities, and their spoken folklore, right? The lore of each one, they all have something similar in common. When you break it all down to common denominators like you would in math. All of them have tales of something like a Baba Yaga, a boogeyman, the Babadook, right? The Jinn, the Ningen. They all have these kinds of stories. Even Native Americans, even cultures that have zero relation to each other whatsoever for hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of years. They all have that in common. So, others would say they're real. Or maybe they were. I don't know, do you? Regardless of the answer to that question, we have a request from the Discord. From the purgatory of the Discord, link in the description box down below if you care at all or give a shit to know. More Slaughter To Prevail. More of Alex Terrible. Wait, I already did this one. This one was pretty fun. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, wait, they're the same, are they? No, they're not the same one. Okay, yeah, Baba Yaga, okay. I got it right, I think. From Tilda. Tilda, I already did the first one. There's no music video for the first one. But yeah, Baba Yaga. Gracias for the request, keeping me sane if you can. So, are you ready? Hopefully the anti-humans left upon me saying that statement just now. Alright, you're not anti-human, right? Okay, cool. Let's jump in. I'm pretty sure I'll like it. I like turning my brain off to this guy. I feel the Slav through the screen, as I said. Mierda, la madre de Dios. Almost forgot the mute button.
Flesh we ate, that was the core of your innocent hate. Blood we took, flesh we ate, love through the pain, nothing but fear.
I freaking love it. I love it. I want to see that. I want to see that. I love it. I just noticed, right, that they got mock-ups of, pieces of human. I love it. I love it. It's great. It's great. I swear in some of these that I get requests from, I'd like to see them made into some kind of just. I wouldn't really care if they were a B movie, right? Or an A movie. I don't care which one. A list, B list, who gives a shit? If it's fun and entertaining, it's fun and entertaining. The two are basically the same nowadays, anyways. Hollywood and the A listing shits become like C listed, or more like LGBTQ listed, alphabet listed. And this is like a good B movie that becomes a cult favorite later. I swear to God. But no, I do, I do love it. I do love it. What'd be cool is if in the video, if these were made of, if they weren't just props, they were made of, what's it called? I forget the, is it a confection? Maybe. I don't know. Perhaps a patissiere would know more about it than I would. But, I love the idea of just making these out of, I don't know, some gelatinous, like, edible but tasty stuff, making it look as realistic as possible, and then pranking somebody with it. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? You invite someone to dinner, and then it's what looks like human body parts on the table. That would be hilarious. Anyway, I love it. I love it. Let's go. Let's go. And by the way, insane speed when it comes to the instrumentation. And holy Jesus, I still don't understand anything they're saying, but it sounds cool. I do hear the mixture of English and stuff in between the Slav. I'm pretty sure it's Russian, but I don't know much in Russian, period. I really don't. I mean, I can sing some songs in Russian, but I studied more of other languages. Well, okay, studied more like got trained gooder enough to kind of sort of understand what's going on and kind of sort of talk about things and kind of sort of ask pertinent questions. Um, Plus, I have a higher fluency for Spanish, which kind of no duh. I am part Hispanic, but mi familia es de España. And a great ancestor of mine helped to do the Reconquista in a big way. Rest in peace. For God, El Cid in Spain. But yeah, although Spain seems like it needs a Reconquista right about now. Maybe my family on both sides of Gibraltar were correct. Because half the family on one side is like, we just tolerate them because they're related to us. And then the family on the other side of Gibraltar feels the same way. We just tolerate them because they're related to us. And then us mixed kids in the family on both sides are looked down upon because we're like the product of, on one hand, what they would consider unholy matrimony. On the other hand, what they would consider, mixing with the kafir. Although they don't, on the Moroccan side of the family, they don't exactly Well, then again, my family's unique in Morocco. That's just how that works. They're weird comparative to where they live. They pretend like they're all 100% Islam, 100%. They take bits and pieces of what they like and they throw the rest of that shit out. They Eid al-Fitr, they're okay with it. They have fun. They treat it like a family festival. And on the other side of the strait in Spain, they don't give a shit about it. But they'll celebrate with them anyway, because, well, they're blood related. But yeah, no, anyway, long tangent. I need to stop doing that shit. Let's just turn our brains off and stop thinking. Anyway, I love hearing the mix of English and Russian. Oh shit, I just noticed his vest. Made in Russia. Well, hey, yeah, y'all are a unique property all your own. There's a reason why Slavs are looked at it a certain way, no matter how else you look at them, period. I don't even mind that he's got some filthy commie equipment in his... He's got filthy commie equipment in his music video. I don't mind. I don't mind. All right. Although I'd rather see him, I'd rather see him, with the pre-Bolshevik stuff. But it's part of the Russian culture now is basically the result and product of communist Russia, the Soviet Union. Because it was, sure, the Soviet Union was like mostly like 50% easily bluster, lies, propaganda, and fakery, right? They freaked us out about making a very fast jet, and then we made a jet that was 10 times better than it and could do everything better than it. And then we figured out later it was fake. It could go fast in a straight line. That was it. And we're seeing the results of that now in their current war. But yeah, I'd much rather see him with the pre-Bolshevik stuff. But anyway, still, it's pretty cool. He's got a tank in his music video. It's a shitty tank. It's a garbage tank. Absolutely just crap. But hey, he's still got... A tank is better than no tank, huh? Gotta love the mask too. I like how it actually matches his mouth movements. If I ever get to make my own like little series or something, who knows? Maybe I'll be able to find volunteers. I don't know. If I ever get to do something like that, right? I'm gonna need something like those. Something like those. Anyway, oh yeah, the video game is coming along slowly. I'm not the best programmer, coder, scripter, nothing. Period. So progress is really slow on that front. But I mean, it gives me a little bit of something to do until my brain just cooks itself. And then I have to take a break for like a day and a half. But yeah, I don't know some of the guys I know who are like techies do it. They just spit shit out of their brain. Like the one guy I've told people about. I don't know what happened to him, actually. He just disappeared. But he used to rattle off just mathematical everything off the top of his brain, talking about actually we do have the capacity to make lasers, right? And then you need a certain amount of, this and that and that. And he's running numbers through the fucking meat grinder. And he's like, actually, you can have a casing, you know, and you can have all these different lenses and foci and all this. So I'm like, oh, can I shoot it? Essentially, that's my grunt brain at work. But no, he was working with army. It was part of the army modernization. It was part of army modernized. Fuck, they changed the name of that fucking thing so many times. I've forgotten it. But it was like Army Modernization and Testing Command or some shit. He was working with them. He was infantry first. That's how I met him. He was infantry over at Fort Lewis. But yeah, and yeah, when he and I would get together, and all the Rangers would be there too. But yeah, freaking, he'd just be. I'd ask him like, "Hey, how things going? How's work?" And he's like, "Oh man, I can't wait to tell you about this. So, we can have one that's battery portable and it can be carried by one guy. However, he can't carry other things because it's so heavy, and he just go off." And I'd kind of enjoy it. I'd be like, "Oh shit, Jesus, you're a genius," and I just want to sit here and listen. But my brain hurts. Lovable guy, awesome guy. Anyway, but yeah, no, I'll need something like that. But yeah, I like the mask. Plus, I was hearing, I can't stand your promises of something. Boy, can't we all. Boy, can't we all. All right, hell, one of the biggest promises in the modern Western world, at least. All right, NATO. NATO at the end of World War II was a promise to do everything in our power to prevent another World War II, to try and bring the world together, at least the Western world, and try and be thou for others, to enshrine the sanctity of life, essentially. I know I'm compounding and consolidating and simplifying this shit, but don't I feel it? Same thing with the UN. The UN was supposed to bring the whole world together. And then both organizations got corrupted by the very forces that they had been raised to fight against. Leftism. Oh, give me a sec. I got a knock at the door. Don't know what it is. Okay, it was just it was my son. His mother's home. So I have to try and avoid her as much as possible. If you know, you know. Come mierda culera. Frickin' A. Wish I had a Baba Yaga I could sick on her. Alright, let's continue. I forgot where I was or what I was doing. Because I got interrupted. So, yeah. Anyway, oh yeah, promises. NATO, UN, those are big scale promises. What about between you and other people? See, one of the things I did appreciate about some parts of Middle Eastern culture is a promise broken is a death sentence. It's not a joke. In Afghanistan, okay, didn't matter where you went or what you did or why or who, how, where, what, didn't matter. You did not promise anything to anyone unless you meant to keep that promise. And there was literally some fights initiated between green and blue because of broken promises between idiot soldiers who thought this was the West, where you can get away with lying and promising bullshit. Oh yeah, dude, I'll help you out when you have to move. Oh yeah, yeah, sure, sure. I'll get this thing done on time. Dude, I promise you, I will never betray you. Till death do us part. And the wedding vows. None of that shit's ever taken seriously here. Never. That's one of the things I really loved about, especially for Afghans, even though the rest of their culture is pretty much garbage. That's one of the things I appreciated because for them, your word is your bond. You break your word, you die. Period. I think we need to reintroduce that to the West. I think we need to bring that back. You want to be a shithead? Okay, get shithead treatment. Bring back fisticuffs. Get rid of assault charges. All right. One of the same thing with Chicago, right? In Chicago, they have what's called mutual combat. So if you decide to throw down in the middle of the street and you got some shit to settle, boom, done, son. Cops will just sit there and watch. They kind of did that sometimes in LA when I was a kid. And Sacramento, hell, most of California, they used to have that kind of thing, but it was more of like an unspoken agreement, not an actual law, as far as I'm aware. I can't stand your promises. That's why I always tell people, never believe anyone when they say shit, including me, right? I tell people all the time, half of the shit that I tell y'all, I obfuscate to hell and back. I spoof, unfoolproof, and I misdirect, redirect, and deflect all the time. I tell people this constantly. Why? So that people know to expect it. But also because why in the hell am I going to tell some motherfucker randomly on the internet my address? I've had 3 people try to kill me in the last 3 years. All Democrats. When I lived in my house. Except a couple of them were them tracking me down to when I was working for Lyft and Uber. So that's a totally different thing. But yeah, if you are trusting other people on the internet, period, you're a fool. Don't. Never do that. Just like idolatry. Don't put other human beings on a pedestal. And I have a saying that I'm trying to spread as far and wide as I possibly can. When it comes to people and life in general, if you expect nothing, and I mean nothing, no hope, no little wishes or dreams, no crossy the fingeries, okay, no ankle twisting, no tooth under the pillow. If you expect absolutely nothing, period, from people or life, you can never be disappointed. Just like meeting heroes. I've met some of mine. I'm never going to do that shit again. All right? Because quite a few of them turned out to be not what they promised to you on screen or not what they promised to you from the stories of their existence that are most relevant to you comparative to why you saw them as heroes or why they were presented as such. I can't stand your promises, I think is what I heard them saying in this music video. Fucking facts. Absolutely so. And not to be pessimistic, but you have to remember, your average human is closer to an animal. Much closer to an animal than one of the great thinkers. Period. That's your average. All right, let's continue with the awesome, incredible music. Mierda.
Яга, костяная нога, зубы точат, детей скушать хочет. Баба Яга, костяная нога, нас потолок врос, кто же я? Баба Яга.
God almighty, no way! No way! It used to be one of my favorite games ever. Back when I didn't have family. And what's more hilarious is that his crew reminds me very much close to what every single group of Russians I've ever been acquainted with is very similar to. I swear to God. I swear to God. I mean, I'm not saying all Slavs are the same, but they all come from the exact same place. I love it though. I love it. And yes, I have played Russian roulette during a much worse time of my life. Thankfully, thankfully, um, they weren't entirely idiots, right? And someone kept count, and then at the end of it, when someone was about to get the right chamber, they called it and said, "All right, you lost. You leave." Because it won't do to have someone dead in your freaking basement, right? But yeah, no, funny enough though, I did win. Okay, and that helped me pay bills for like a couple of months. This was after the first divorce. Yeah, I was in a real low place. That said, yeah. I love it. I freaking love it. Yep. Oh, was that it? Oh, that was it. Oh, I was hoping it'd be more. I get more cinematics. Okay, so Slaughter To Prevail by Yaga. Official music video. I liked it, although I wasn't able to turn my brain entirely off. They said some spell words in Slavic that scrambled my brain and made me do thinky things to a lower level. But it was fun. It was fun. Thank you very much for the request. That being said, what do you think? You let me know in the comments down below. All right, you know what time it is. Be good. Be safe. Make good life for yourselves. Don't compromise safety and security for nobody and nothing. Death and disaster is only a second away. Do what you can today. And I'll see y'all in the next one. I'm Badger 7 Actual, the formerly homeless veteran, Blast Cat Badger, out.